was up with ESPN last night? I mean, look, in recent years, if you guys follow like sports, the Sports Business Journal or sports media news, you know that ESPN has fired and laid off a ton of people, and not just on the talent side. They've laid off a ton of very talented producers, directors, a lot of people that were responsible for ESPN's ascension to dominance, world dominance for a while. And last night was a bleep show, start to finish, man. Like, it was one of the worst broadcasts I've ever seen in my life.
It was so tough to watch. They didn't know when they were going to break. My goodness, Anish was asking Ahmad questions, and then all of a sudden you get a Taco Bell ad.
I mean, I don't even – I was watching and thinking for a little bit, like, okay, give them a break, let them breathe. You know, maybe this is the seed team. You know, maybe they're not juiced about being in Provo. I don't know. But I thought at some point they would settle in. They never settled in. And then they throw it to Van Pelt, who, by the way, thought the game was over.
Yeah.
Did you know this?
He didn't say anything about, the game's back on ESPN2.
No. So I got a text from a buddy. He's like, hey, where's the game? And then in my mind, I'm like, wait a second. ESPN never said switch over to ESPN2. Van Pelt never said anything. So I sent out a quick tweet. Game has resumed on ESPN2. I had like 50 mentions in 10 seconds, and they all said, hey, thank you. Like, because of my tweet, people realized it was back on ESPN2. And look, I know your boy Anish is an Orangeman, okay? And I know he's your guy. But let's just be better as a group. That's all I'll say. I'm not trying to run anybody down individually. Let's just be better. That's all.
Well, I mean, on the production side, they were missing plays. We were
and where were the replays?
We were missing things.
I mean, one of the reasons why I prefer to watch any game at home is I want to see replays, okay? And sometimes it's hard when you're at the stadium to, see exactly what happened. And time after time after time, because when you watch a ton of sports, it's kind of embedded in your head. You just assume, okay, they'll replay that. I'll see that. Nope. And then, look, I'm sure Zach Wilson's parents are lovely, kind people. I'm sure they are.
Shout out,
but
Lisa Dance fan.
60-minute sit down in the middle of a game. I mean, that was like, where's George Wallace? Let's talk about his upbringing, his youth. And it's one thing to have like a 20, 30-second hit, couple of questions, and let's get back to the game. I don't know if it was just, hey, this game is boring, let's stretch. But that was so puzzling, man, like so bizarre. And then they would do throwaways to the crowd, like, I don't want to just sit here all day and rail on ESPN, JP, but that was embarrassing.
It was during a Utah drive too. Zach wasn't even on the field during it. They had to cut away to Zach Wilson on the bench, and you'd get weird reactions from him as Mike and Lisa Wilson were talking about him for half a drive. It was a little bit of a rough one in the first go during.
And you could tell, like, even Lisa at the end was kind of like, "Are we really still doing this?" Like, I think the answer to the last question was something like, well, I guess we'll just keep wearing blue, and I love my family. Are you still interviewing me? Like, this is weird. The whole thing was bizarre. And look, I mean, just a little behind the curtains, in case you didn't know, it's pretty obvious. If a game is a dog game, a good director and a good producer will find human interest stories. Like, I remember, I can't remember what year it was. It was the 54-10 game that Utah just went down to Provo and smashed BYU. That was when, I think it was like halfway through the third quarter, and Utah was just smoking them. I mean, it wasn't close. It wasn't entertaining. And they did like a 5-minute montage on Cougar Tail donuts and milk from the creamery.
See, there you go.
They're like, all right, we'll go down to the field. I don't remember who it was. Bob Magoo down there with, all right, Bob, what do you got? And he's like, yeah, Cougar Tail, 2% milk, creamery. And it went on for like 5 minutes. Okay, and it was simply because Utah was smashing BYU and the game was pretty boring. So I don't know if there was some of that going on last night, but, I mean, for a station and a company that has the reputation that ESPN has, to put a broadcast on like that, it's kind of a black eye.
The weather delay happening, and they had to go to the weird shot behind the field goal post. And then we get it relayed to us, oh, by the way, there's been lightning in the area. We don't know when we'll be back, but we might be back. Let's go to SportsCenter. Here's Stan and Neil in Los Angeles. And then we're going to go to SVP across the country. It was I got stuck on watching that Justin Herbert interview way too long because the Utah game was on the other station and I didn't even know it was on.
I mean, at the very least, give folks a heads up, and okay, so maybe Utah BYU doesn't move the needle like the Clemson game or whatever, okay? But a lot of people were tuned into that game last night, and a lot of people, not just here in state, were really put off with the way ESPN handled it.
It wasn't even on the bottom line scroll. Like, that's an easy thing that you could do where, okay, we're resuming the ball game on ESPN2. Change your channels. I didn't even see that.
Last night, I mean, a sign that the apocalypse may be on us, I had the thought in my head, boy, do I miss BYU TV. That happened to me last night. You win, ESPN. Checkmate. I was pining for some BYU TV. I'll watch Studio C if I can get the football broadcast.
They would definitely show the game.
Absolutely. And they would give you updates.